What's up guys, it's Every Month Anthony and welcome back to the Civic vlog that you hopefully know and hopefully love. And in today's video, we're trying this again. Alright guys, and welcome back. It's been so long that I almost forgot what you guys look like. Get it? Because I don't actually know what okay, bad joke. Anyway, so today's video is going to be all about upgrading the front and rear strut bars on the Honda Civic yet again. Now, if you've been a long time subscriber, you'll probably remember this video. And yes, I've been running these things ever since. These are the JDM Sport Universal Fit strut bars for 92 to 2000 Honda Civics, as well as DC Integras. Now, I do have some gripes with these, and I'll get to that here in just a second, but to be honest, guys, I bought them because they were cheap. I figured a strut bar was better than no strut bar, so what's the worst thing that could happen? And to be honest, they did make a difference. They absolutely made a difference. And so I would say that my steering felt tighter. I think that absorbing bumps was more evenly dispersed amongst the chassis, and it kind of increased the structural rigidity of the chassis itself. But the problem I have with this bar specifically is that it would constantly come loose on its own. Now, I don't mean around here where the coilover sits, but on these tensioner nuts on both sides. After a day of hard driving or a week of driving, I would pop the hood to find that they would come loose, and it would be the same thing for the rear bar as well. Now, this isn't really like a safety concern or anything like that, just a very big annoyance. I shouldn't have to constantly be checking on this stupid bar, so I figured this is a very good example of buy it once and buy it right. So with that said, we're going to be upgrading these Amazon strut bars to something much, much better from my friends at DC Sports. So you guys are in for a treat, because not only am I going to unbox these, but I'm going to install them in the same video. Amazing, right? Bad joke. Long-time subscribers will know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I've teamed up with DC Sports for not one, but two videos. Today's video is going to be all about the strut bars, and the second video is going to be headers for the D16. Now, some of you might be wondering, Anthony, why are you putting headers on the D16? Just trust me, there's a method to my madness, and I'll explain in a future video. But we need to open these things up to see what they look like. All right, so we're going to jump into the front bar first here. Probably be easier to do on the ground, but for the camera's sake, let's make it a little bit more special. Oh, these are nice and wrapped up. Dude, these are gonna look sick, man. This is gonna look so freaking good, man. Oh, man. Guys, that looks awesome. So these are the DC Sport CS2. And what's nice too is that this is going to be something that I can keep with me for all of my future shenanigans. So basically, if there's a swap or something like that, this is something that I should be able to keep. And if I'm wrong, you can correct me, but I think you can still run a strut bar even with a larger swap. So dude, that looks killer, man. That looks so freaking good. I'm pumped. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you can't tell me that's not gonna look 100 times better, especially with that red on there. Damn, that's gonna be nice. It's like Christmas, except Christmas was, what, a couple weeks ago? Okay, so this one, quite a bit heavier. Not ungodly heavy, but it is definitely heavier than the front. So my only concern with this, as good as it looks, I'm guessing I'm gonna have to cut my carpet a little bit more on the rear. Probably not much, but like I have a hole probably this big for my existing one. It's gonna have to be a little bit bigger because this is the way it sits. See how tall it sits right here? So I'm just gonna have to probably take my X-Acto knife and cut up from where I'm at and kind of create like another like dot-shaped candy or something like that. I could cut a perfect square, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to cut a perfect square and make it look good. So I think I'm just gonna kind of extend the top of that circle, and this should be able to slide in. But damn, guys, this looks awesome. Quick side note, something I did earlier in the week that I regret not recording because I think it would have been helpful for many of you was that I replaced the negative and positive battery cables on my Honda Civic. After 22 years, those things were extremely corroded and the corrosion had gone all the way through the cables and it was making my startups really, really crappy. So I bucked up, spent the money. I think I spent 35 bucks on the negative cable, 45 bucks on the positive, and replace those. It's a pretty easy job. It'll take you maybe 20, 30 minutes to do, depending on how big or how small your hands are. But it's something that made a huge difference on the startup. The car feels so much healthier. It starts up faster. It just feels healthier. So something I'd consider doing if you have an older car like mine. Check them out. Look at your battery cables, see how corroded they are, and consider replacing them. So yeah, quick side note, just wanted to tell you I did that, and something I'd recommend doing. All right, let's get this thing on here. So it should be pretty easy. I'm kind of worried about that throttle cable over there, but I'm gonna get one side on first and then work my way over. And this, maybe just kind of move that to the side. Nice. Yeah, that's not in the way at all. Dude, that's money. Damn, that looks good. What do you guys think? Look good? I think it looks awesome, man. So anyways, that's it. Literally get these things zipped on and we should be good to go. All right, guys, so it's time to move on to the rear here. I apologize for the dirty car. Normally I try to wash it before I do videos, but it is what it is. So here's what I'm working with here. Those holes I think are too small, and trust me, I think I know something about hole size, so I think I'm gonna have to stretch them out a bit, you know, cut them a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna get this one removed here, pop that off. I'll try to do a test fit, see what happens. So typically what I'll do is I pull back that carpet liner right there, set it in. I usually tighten it from the back because it's hard to get a wrench in there from the front here. Most guys that are running aggressive strut bars like this typically don't even have the liners in here. So I like the clean OEM look, so I want to try to keep them. So I'm going to try to cut them the best I can to make sure I get to keep them and keep the nice look here in the rear. So with that said, I'm going to pop this thing off, get those off, get this thing in.
Rage on that beat, going crazy.
All right, guys, so I've been finagling this for a minute just to kind of see where to get started. So this is roughly 4.5 by 4.5, this square here on the end. So I measured it out. I don't need to go any lower, so that ring that I kind of created previously, perfect, that's totally fine. I just need to go a little bit higher and then a little bit wider. So that rear stud, probably fine. It might be resting on the carpet, so I might cut that a little bit wider, but definitely here on the front, I need to cut this a little bit further as well. So to kind of show you what I'm doing, just taking a razor blade, and I'm just coming in and just sawing like Paul Bunyan, man. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's pretty much what I'm doing. So instead of talking about it, I'll just film myself doing it so you can kind of see what I'm doing and how it's going along. But kind of a pain. I'm sure if you had scissors, you can honestly, you just probably just do this with scissors a little bit easier. I'm horrible with scissors, so I just use razor blades. All right, guys, so I've been sawing away and give you a quick update. I think this is gonna be the final result here. So basically went about 4 inches, widened it out just a little bit more, show a light here, kind of what we're working with, and it works out fine because basically I still have to get to those bolts on the back, and if I didn't cut that large enough on the back side there, I would have to fold back the liner to try to reach my hand down there and get to it, and it's just super annoying. That's what I had to do on the last set. So I'd rather actually have it to where I can access those just right through the top there with a deep socket, call it good. So that's that side. Still need to cut up that side. That's not on there. It's just kind of mocked up and setting on there. So bring that up, cut it up a little bit more, and we should be good to go. So this is always what happens. I start obsessing over things, and then I worry about every single detail, and usually ends up working out pretty good. So both holes there, that one, and that one, I think they're pretty even. I mean, even though the mold is different on this side from that side, I think I got it to where I think I can work with that. I think I'm pretty happy, and I cleaned up any extra hard corners and that with a razor, so I have a bunch of just straps everywhere. Overall, pretty happy. So I'm gonna button in the strut bar and tighten everything down, and we should be good to go. All right, guys, front is done, all torqued down, looks killer. I freaking love the way that looks. I think it looks so awesome. Even with the D16 in there, it still looks awesome. Now the rear, also done. All torqued down, looks really clean, looks really good. Now in retrospect, because I've been thinking about this over and over and over again, I could have cut the holes maybe 1 inch to 2 inches shorter. The width, I still needed the width to get it in there, but it could have been shorter. However, I don't really regret it because I can get my hand in there, which is nice. I can just basically put my hand in there and get anything I need to get done. So if there's ever a coilover issue or anything like that, I'll never have to pull back that carpet liner again. I can just access everything from there. So not the worst thing in the world, but they were cut just a little bit bigger than what they need. So if you're doing this for yourself, maybe go 1 inch lower. So instead of 4.5 inches high, maybe go 3.5 inches, hell, or even 3 inches, and then just call it good. And I think you'll still have plenty of space to get in there. So anyways, that's done. I'm gonna roll this thing out. I'm gonna get some shots outside while I still have some daylight, and then go for a drive. All right, guys, so we're on the road. I want to film this really quick before the sun goes down and kind of give you guys my thoughts. So on the drive here, I already noticed a major difference. So basically the surprise is kind of out of the bag. I already kind of noticed, so I'm gonna try to regurgitate that back to you guys. First couple turns I took in this car, you can already tell that the car wants to turn in a lot faster. And this is an improvement over the already okay Amazon strut bars, if that makes sense. So this kind of doubled down on that and improved that feeling even more so. It feels good, it feels very planned, it feels very solid. But the other thing too is that it also feels, like I said, more rigid, but more rigid in the fact that every bump, instead of feeling the bump at maybe one corner, right, or maybe the left side or the right side of the car, it kind of feel it everywhere in the car, which to some people that might be a good thing, to some people that might be a bad thing. But basically you're feeling more vibrations, the car feels a little bit more raw. I can only imagine what solid motor mounts would feel like on top of this. It would feel, that would probably be too much, to be honest. I probably won't be doing that mod anytime soon. I think this feels great. I think that these are great strut bars. I'm excited to kind of push them more to the limits once the weather gets better, once it warms up, because right now there's no point in taking this car balls out. On top of that, my rear brakes are not acting right lately. I don't know. The drums are just making some weird sounds, and that rear disc swap cannot come soon enough because there's no point in me putting money into new drums when I'm just gonna do the disc swap. But if it's a safety thing and I wanna keep driving the car, then I might just do that. Feels good, man. All right, guys, so we're back home from our drive and the car feels fan-freaking-tastic. A big improvement over something that I thought was already improved, but made an even bigger improvement. So I want to give a huge shout out to DC Sports for sending out these front and rear strut bars. I'm excited for the upcoming header video as well, so I will put their link in the description below. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and it was a little bit longer than it probably should have been, but it wasn't a how-to video, it was more of like a hangout sesh, so hopefully you guys still liked it. So if you want to see more of the Civic, make sure you give me a big thumbs up, subscribe down below for more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. It's ALLDAYANTHONY. Peace.